Back in 2005 to 2007, I was a ministerial student at Unity Ministerial School at Unity Village. And what was then the education building, in the basement, we students had a lounge. And near the lounge, there was a table where the publishing department would put books that were lightly damaged and could not be sold. Of course, I made sure to frequently take a book and bring it home with me. And one such book that I took is Daily Word for Couples, Enriching Our Life in a Relationship of Heart and Soul. And I thought one day soon I will be in a relationship where my beloved and I can read the daily word together. Well, relationships came, relationships went. It took 18 years. But now I share my home and my bed with someone with whom I can read the daily word each night. And that's what we've been doing. I would like to share with you one of those daily word messages. Day 5, our home is on the sacred ground of God's presence. Our home. It takes more than walls and a roof to make our home. For a home is a place where love abides and where all who enter feel love as a tangible, soothing presence. That kind of love is divine in nature because it comes from the Spirit of God within us. It is by acknowledging that the presence of God is everywhere that we make our dwelling a home. Peace is a direct result of God's Spirit of love actively at work in our lives and in our home. Where there are peace and harmony, tension and stress cannot abide. As family and friends enter our home and our life, the comfort they feel will give them a sense of welcome and love. Our home is built on sacred ground and is blessed by God's presence. We maintain our home with faith and love. Yes, God helps us make our house a home. And from the letter of Peter to the Colossians, chapter 13, verse 14, above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And so every month we have an affirmation and a word for the month. And this word, the month, is kindness. And the affirmation, which I will say once by myself, and then I will ask you to say it with me twice. Our affirmation was written by our very own Sandy Solomon. This month, the affirmation is, and I will say it once by myself, in all situations, I choose kindness. Let that sink in for a moment. And now together, in all situations, I choose kindness. Once again, together, in all situations, I choose kindness.
Need a moment of peace or inspiration? Call the Unity of Tucson prayer line for a comforting, uplifting prayer, available 24/7. Each month, we offer a new affirmative prayer to support you on your prayer journey. Take a deep breath, listen, and know that you are never alone. Call today and let the power of prayer uplift your spirit.
The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said this: the only constant in life is change. The only constant in life is change. And change, here's the thing, change can be unsettling, right? Anyone feel unsettled in the experience of change? Yeah. Here's the thing I was thinking about is that sometimes a lack of change can be even more unsettling. As much as it may be a challenge to move through change, a lack of change can be more unsettling. But moving through change, allowing the experience of growing through change, notice I don't say going through change, growing through change, that is a catalyst, right, in our experience for expansion. Change is a catalyst for growth and transformation and a call to greater expressions of the infinite self. And one of the fundamental aspects of self that I think exists at the core of our hearts is what the theme of this month is, which is kindness. I truly believe that kindness is at the core of each and every one of us. And what oftentimes makes kindness a little bit difficult, seemingly difficult to achieve, is that we often hold back our kindness if we are experiencing unkindness in the external world. And rather than allow ourselves to respond with kindness to an unkindness, we mirror an unkindness. And I think if we collectively made a decision to turn that paradigm around, to allow kindness to be the response to every single interaction, we in this room can fundamentally, and online, we can fundamentally change the entire experience of this life on this planet. In Paul's epistle to the Galatians, oh my gosh, he's using scripture reference. It's a joke, right? In Paul's epistle to the Galatians, he offered that we should live by spirit rather than being bound by works of the flesh. And what is meant by that is that we should let go of being reactive to the stuff out there. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Not allowing ourselves to be reactive to the things that we are facing and experiencing. And when he talks about works of the flesh, he's including behaviors like jealousy, strife, idolatry, and the sense of division. And he says, by contrast, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. That is the core of our beingness, each and every one of us. While everything around us changes, these fruits of the Spirit, which are divine qualities, remain constant. They are unchanging. Joy, love, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are things that are actually constants in our lives. And it sometimes can be challenging to live from that point of view. It can be challenging to live from that point of view. This song which I'm having an emotional experience again right in front of you. This song is a song that was born out of an experience that Sam Cooke had. Sam Cooke, who was the composer of this song. In 1963, Sam Cooke and his group tried to check into a Holiday Inn where they had a reservation, but when they arrived, they were denied due to segregationist policies. He protested in the lobby this refusal, and it apparently got sort of heated in his response, and his wife was pleading with him to stop, saying, they'll kill you. They'll kill you. And finally, things dissipated a little bit. He left, and they went to another hotel. When they arrived at that hotel, though, he was arrested for disturbing the peace. You know, I think about that, and the visceral response in me is a little bit of outrage. That while it seems that 62 years ago, that could ever have been a paradigm, we still live with that paradigm in many parts of this world to this day. and it should, I think. It sparks outrage in me, and I would love to think that it would spark outrage in any one of us that lives with a kind and compassionate heart. Speaking up for oneself and for others is ultimately an act of kindness. Cook's resistance, though it was met with adversity, his arrest, it was an expression of his own affirmation of self-worth and dignity. And he was not going to let that be dissipated in this experience. Now, he was inspired by a lot of contemporary music that was happening at the time. One of his big inspirations actually was "Blowin' in the Wind" by Bob Dylan. And he said that there was a little part of me that said he couldn't quite understand how someone who had not had the lived experience of being a person of color could write such a strong song about that experience. Sam Cooke struggled with the idea of writing songs that protested racial injustice because he feared that he would have a backlash from his white audience. And so there comes a stop. How many of us fear in ways that stop us from being the light in this world? How many of us allow the perception of backlash for our expression and experience in this world to be stopped because we think that we might have our light dimmed by something outside the self? Nothing outside the self can ever dim the light. Nothing. The decision to allow our light to shine is a decision. And when we light our light, when we allow our light to shine, then we illuminate the whole world. So Sam Cooke talked about this composition actually coming to him in a dream. And he drafted the first lyrics for this song when he was involved at a sit-in in Durham, North Carolina. And boy, this song became one of the greatest songs that has ever been written. He used his platform for change. It was not just an act of kindness for himself, but to all generations that have followed. The allowing of that light to be expressed through his talent and his artistry. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is going to come. Oh, yes, it will. Are we still waiting for that change? Why? Why are we waiting for this change? You know, it is very famously said that we should be the change we wish to see in the world. And so if we're still waiting for that change, then we haven't made the change. We haven't made the change. That song became an anthem of perseverance and transformation, and I think we should persevere and transform ourselves into the expression of change, the change we wish to see in the world. In 2007, that song was chosen by the Library of Congress for preservation due to its cultural and historical significance. And in 2021, Rolling Stone magazine named it the number 3 greatest song of all time on its top 500 songs of all time. And fear almost kept that song from us. Fear almost kept that song from being composed. So what are we fearing that is keeping our light from being expressed in this world? Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for ourselves and others is persevere and hold on in times that are seemingly tough. We can be that beacon. Every act that we engage in, even small acts of kindness, can be seeds planted for a better world. How are you planting your seeds today? How are you nurturing the soil in which those seeds are planted to allow that better world to come into expression? Even if kindness is met with resistance, and it can be met with resistance, the ultimate movement is always still forward. when we remember who we are, when we remember to be rooted in the practice and the consciousness of kindness. Kindness is a transformative power, and it can lead us in the direction of equity, of peace, and justice. But a lack of kindness will always, always support the experience of discord. No matter what, a lack of kindness will always support discord. And it's not, here's the thing about kindness. Kindness is not just about politeness, right? It's not just about politeness, although the expression of politeness rooted in a kind heart is something to be lauded. It's not just about being polite in the world. It is about the inner eye seeing and uplifting one another and seeing and uplifting yourself. That's a kind heart. That's a kind heart. Cheryl Lee Ralph, the actress, last year at the Critics' Choice Awards, said something that I have a little video clip of it. I could have shown it, I suppose, but I chose not to, neither here nor there, where she reminded us all of how important it is to be rooted in self-kindness, because self-kindness is the seed for expressed kindness in the world. She said this. Ready? She said, come here. She said, people don't have to like you. People don't even have to love you. They don't even have to respect you. But when you look in the mirror, you better love what you see. Loving what you see is a decision. And it is an ultimate act of self-kindness. Loving what you see is a decision. I will admit, even being in this philosophy for as long as I've been in this philosophy, having been a minister for almost 15 years now, I still occasionally look in the mirror and I question what I see, whether it's something I like. This is a struggle that I experience. And I don't know if that resonates with any of you, but I just want to let you know, if that is a struggle you experience, let yourself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook and allow yourself to begin to look in the mirror. And even if it's just one little thing about yourself, love that part of you. And then let that expand and expand and expand so that you can find the love for the whole of you. If you look and you say, that's one little thing that I love about myself. I'm going to love it unconditionally. And it will expand. Self-love begets kindness. When we are engaged in self-love, we are naturally kind in this world. I was in Starbucks this morning. Picking up my morning beverage, and they're always playing music in Starbucks, and the song that was playing in Starbucks was, "You're nobody till somebody loves you." And I was listening to that song, I was like, yeah, you're nobody till somebody loves you. I'm like, wait, what? You're nobody till somebody loves you? I don't think so. And I thought to myself that maybe we need to make a slight readjustment to that song so that we can start singing, "You're nobody till who you see in the mirror loves you." And what you see in the mirror is what you love. Because that somebody out there may just be the person in the mirror that is looking back at you. When we truly love ourselves, we naturally express kindness, not from a place of obligation, but from a place of authenticity. And it also works best free of the need for approval from others. It works best when it is free of the need for approval from others. If we are seeking validation from others, we may fail to show up as our authentic selves because we think we have to put on the veneer or the mask or the costume of something that somebody else will not find offensive. Sam Cooke initially feared losing his audience, but ultimately chose to express his truth, and that truth, in its expression, has created a lasting impact to this day, right? That was an impactful experience, I think, for all of us. Certainly was for me. True kindness is unwavering. Unwavering. It does not depend on how others respond. Although it's a little easier if others respond in kind, right? But at the end of the day, it truly does not matter how others respond because kindness can be unwavering. We are expressions of the divine and our self-worth is inherent. Loving what we see in the mirror means recognizing our divinity and living in alignment with it 100% of the time, no matter what. And so it is. When we see ourselves clearly, when we see ourselves truly and clearly, we extend that same love and respect to others. So ultimately, kindness begins with kindness to self, love for self, because we become reflections of and expressions of that self-love and that self-kindness. One of my favorite mystics, yes, a mystic of all time, is RuPaul. Listen to what RuPaul puts out in the world. If you don't know what RuPaul is putting out in the world, RuPaul puts out such magnificent expressions in this world. And one of the things that RuPaul says at the end of every single episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I have watched every single episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, love it. At the end of every single episode, RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love anyone else? Can I get an amen? Amen. When we see ourselves clearly, we extend that same love and respect to others. So the call is to love the self, to be kind to the self. And we can practice this in every single moment. Every single moment. And there are some steps I'm going to offer to allow yourself to engage in this practice. Now, one of the things is sometimes I offer these steps and you're not prepared to write them down, and that's okay. But you can always rewatch the video on the video archive at our website. But here are some steps, and there are a lot of them, so don't worry if you don't catch them all. Number one, be aware. Number one step is to be aware. Notice opportunities to be kind and look for ways to help others. That's number one. Number two, practicing kindness, be intentional. Be intentional. Make kindness a core value that you practice each and every day in each and every moment. Allow yourself to express kindness for others. That's three. Offer support, volunteer, or help people in need. But the fourth step in this is to also ensure that you are kind to yourself. Practice self-compassion and forgiveness. Because that forgive everything part of our mission statement, it is not about forgiving all the things out there initially. It's about finding forgiveness for ourselves within our own hearts. That's a way that you can be kind to yourself. You can allow yourself to express and be kind in small ways. Smile. Say please and thank you, or lend a hand. You can also be kind in big ways. Volunteer. Stand for justice. Or offer support to others in need. Kindness is true strength in action. The lyric reminds us, there have been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. Because the only constant is change, and we can engage that change. Let us live the only constant in every moment. Let us live through the power of change. I'm wearing my Mardi Gras beads today. Oh yeah, you thought I forgot to mention it probably earlier. Maybe, I don't know. We are in the we are in the carnival season. We're in Mardi Gras season. We had our Mardi Gras party last night here. And it ends on Tuesday at midnight. And then Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, which for many people in traditional Christian philosophies, you know that is the beginning of Lent, right? Where we suffer and give up things for 40 days to make ourselves worthy. I actually celebrate Lent every year. I actually engage in a practice for Lent every year. Because Lent for me is a time of releasing what is no longer necessary and allowing the necessity for change to express and transform me. One of the major things that I release during Lent is an active practice of releasing negative thinking. Because Lent, for me, is an acronym for Let's Eliminate Negative Thinking. Let's eliminate negative thinking. Imagine that practice for 40 days and 40 nights leading us up to Easter. What might our rising be at Easter if we truly let go and let ourselves eliminate negative thinking in every aspect of our lives? So, live the only constant, change, eliminate negative thinking. Change is inevitable, and kindness keeps us steady-minded in that. When the world shifts around us, we can be a source of peace, love, and action. So let us each be an instrument of kindness, truth, and transformation. Let us embrace change with love and navigate life with grace. Peace and blessings. The practice this week is this. Each day, focus on demonstrating at least one aspect of kindness. At the end of the day, reflect on how you practiced it. And you can write in your journal, or you can simply take a moment in quiet reflection. I'm not going to tell you how you allow that reflection to be. Just allow yourself to reflect on the ways that you were demonstrating kindness throughout the day. I would like to say it's a simple practice. For some, it might not be so easy. But allow yourself to find the ease and the grace through this practice. That's the home practice this week.